Okay, number 7 in top 10 things that wind me up are people who talk through programs and in films. Now this is a special one because I too am guilty of this, but it's just like when it happens to you and you're sitting there watching your favourite program, you're just like, yeah, wicked program, and they're just jabbering away in the background and you just want to go like, shut the fuck up, I'm trying to watch a program. But you don't, you just sort of go, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Checking out all the latest vids now on 4 Later. The programme contains strong language.
This must be the place, Steffi boy! Aye. Have you noticed how these days everyone wants to be a director, don't they? The arch Machiavellian manipulator, the Svengali like Dr. Frankenstein, controlling the means of production from behind the scenes, moulding the raw material into a monster of their own making as they collude with their lackeys to stick their gland cam under the noses of the public, demanding they make me laugh, tell me a story, justify yourself, crucify yourself. It's become the modern mining for the middle classes, and it's time we wrested back the means of production from all these Miles, Giles, Matt Sams and Jack Johns, Jim. Your time has come, you bastards!
This week we've got a world record attempt that would make Cheryl Baker cringe. We've got some classic John Woo chop socky of old. We get inside John Malkovich's head and there's a tall man with killer balls.
Thank you, sir.
First up this week, In Too Deep, which stars LL Cool J and the hugely talented yet sadly underused Stanley Tucci. In his tale of street gangs meets fresh-faced, rookie eager cop as Officer Jeff Cole volunteers for undercover work in an attempt to put an end to Cool J's reign of gangland terror. LL goes by the name of God and has no qualms about removing the tongue of anyone suspected of having liaisons with the 5-0. And as his crack empire expands, the more desperate the cops become. So they turn to the greenback Cole to infiltrate his organisation.
What's up? My name's Terrible Agony. You got a beef with that? I'm undercover, man. Deep, deep cover. Yeah, you'd like to run your nasty hands through it. You ought to be tied to it and made to do it because you ain't used to it. You ain't a wire, man. You ain't a fucking wire. Hey, man. Actually, though, the portrayal of the black club scene in this movie is a lot more refreshing than the ones we usually see in American films. For instance, have you seen American Caucasian dancing? Fucking minging, man! The image of Ali Sheedy and Emilio Estevez dancing in the Breakfast Club will haunt me to my grave. At least the club scenes in Too Deep are actually quite cool. Hey, is that an Uzi in your pocket? Or are you just pleased to see me? Okay, pump that bass. Pump that bass.
Struggling to survive, man.
Too Deep, out to rent now!
Up next, Death Race 2000. It's the year 2000 and the world's most popular spectator sport is, well, it's the wacky races. As a bunch of stupidly named drivers race around in equally stupid cars across the good old US of A, picking up points for the highest tally of human roadkill. Better still, the older the victim, the higher the points total. But unfortunately, one hospital's annual euthanasia day doesn't go to plan, as it's the doctors and nurses that are preferred victims rather than the wrinklies. Sylvester Stallone makes an early acting appearance as Machine Gun Joe, and Martin Cove, he of the humongous chin cleft from Hill Street Blues and Last House on the Left, also pops up. But it's that clad in black, walking zombie Frankenstein, played by David Carradine, that steals this satire's limelight.
But cars are indeed the modern Black Death. In the movie, drivers are given carte blanche to mow down members of the public. This is striking because there is a word which has crept into our modern lexicon of social dysfunction to describe such a person. That word is road rage. Surely Paul Bartel's postulated vision of the future might be nearer to our reality than we dare to imagine. And in some ways, the director might feel somewhat vindicated by the fact that we're surrounded by a carbon monoxide fugue, while all around us, multinational corporations rape the world. But all this dogwell and rhetorical chat doesn't save this film from being utter shite, man! Thank you. Cheers.
Made back in 1975 from the Roger Corman stable of Hey, We've Only Got a Fiver Productions, Death Race 2000 is aged about as well as a decrepit old thing. but it's still an entertaining watch as Carradine, Stallone and co. make complete and utter twats out of themselves, all in the name of black comedy. It's just a shame there were only 5 competitors in the race, as the movie was crying out for the comedy stylings of an anthill mob and in serious need of a moonshine-fueled Arkansas chuggabug. Death Race 2000 has been re-released and it's available to buy now.
Next up, John Woo's Last Hurrah for Chivalry.
Hong Kong's finest export, John Woo, really should be allowed to make his films back in his homeland, as his tale of heroic bloodshed from 1978 shows us. He really doesn't need Hollywood funding to make better pictures. And as we all know, a bigger budget doesn't necessarily mean better end product. Just look at films like Hard Target, Broken Arrow and Mission Impossible 2, for example. What Woo does best is marry his flair for outrageously choreographed violence with characters full of honour and love for their fellow man, which is something the brain-dead bigwigs of the Hollywood hierarchies will sadly never understand. So sit back and relax and let the mayhem take over in this homage to classic Shaw Brothers films of old. I thank you very much.
No one here. Biscuits! Ah! Escalade, 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 escalade! The 2 principal samurais look like wee white-faced painted geisha girls. Indeed, they could be petite, androgynous Elvises. That's EBB, Elvis before the burgers. But the fast-cut chop-socky action and athletic prowess is as brilliant as ever, and the blood does spurt forth in crimson arcs at every opportunity. Although the sound effects are so over the top, I sometimes wonder how these guys manage to do common or garden everyday things like, say, make a cup of tea. They're let down big time by their best friend, who in the penultimate fight has the annoying habit of jumping vertically straight up into the air just at the moment when the Neptune hammer is about to interface with a spam javelin of death. Escalade! Cheers. Last hurrah for Chivalry!
Is out to buy now!
Next up, Sex, the Annabel Chong story. Dick, 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 Dick. And she never even got paid. Now that's what we call commitment. The story goes that Grace Queck was feeling bombarded by reverse patriarchy at a feminist theory class. And she was suffering from a degree of existential angst that week. And seeing as she'd fraternised with all her fellow students, that's fucked all her fellow students, she decided to change her name, make the beast with 2 backs 251 times, and get it to porn. Hey presto, Bob's your uncle, how's your father? Annabel Chong was born. But it wasn't her back that he tender love and care, oh no. It was a poor little Millicent Martin, which suffered at the badly manicured hands of 251 beast men.
I want you to meet...
So what do you get when you take on 251 men in a marathon 10-hour gangbang session? Well, for Grace Queck, or to use her alias Annabel Chong, you would not only have a fanny like a wizard's sleeve, but you'd also have the honour of holding a brand new world record. Boy, her folks must be proud of her, I hear you say. Well, no, as they actually had no idea that their ex-convent-educated only child was one of the world's biggest hardcore porn stars. Well, they certainly do now. If only Roy Castle and Norris McWhirter were alive to see all this.
Yes, well, Stef makes a great face pack, anyway, that's all I can say.
Sex, the Annabel Chong story, is available to buy on DVD now. And now for the special box set edition of Phantasm 1, 2 and 3 on DVD. Now I know this isn't the entire series, but hey, what are you gonna do? Phantasm first hit our screens back in 1979 as the creation of the then writer, producer, director, editor and photographer Don Coscarelli. His role soon lessened to just writing, producing and directing for the rest of the series. A series that tells the story of the tall man, who under the guise of an undertaker, as he's actually an alien from another dimension, he has unlimited access to corpses which he whisks away back to his homeland to be used as slaves. Coscarelli's original idea for the film being, what does happen to your loved ones when you leave them in the capable hands of those creepy morticians? Ooh,
Director Don Coscarelli's fascination with death, the morgue, and what goes on the slab reached its zenith with the original Phantasm. The 2 sequels were nothing but downwardly spiraling derivatives, unable to capture the raw, low-budge animation of the original, with its arpeggiated piano pieces and industrial animal sound effects. And who could forget the sphere? It would fly through the air, attaching itself to his victim's skull and drilling straight into the corpus callosum, and you can actually see one victim laughing his cock off. A curious mix of Gothic mausoleum and Southern California's arid San Fernando Valley give Phantasm a dry, dusty hick feel. And the young Mike in the original surely must be indestructible as he jumps out of car windows and from the top floor of flats with seemingly no ill effects. It must be his fruity leaf garret hairstyle that saves him, methinks. As K.D. Lang lookalike John Cusack said of the savannah inhabitants in Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, they're all drunk and heavily armed down here. And indeed, the same can be said for the cast of Phantasm, which is out to rent and buy on DVD box set now.
Up next, Being John Malkovich, which stars John Cusack as struggling puppeteer Craig Schwartz, who eventually has to give up his dream job and take a so-called proper one as a file clerk on the 7th floor of an office building, where he discovers a portal that transports you straight into the head of the actor John Malkovich. Craig starts up quite a lucrative sideline in letting people pay for the experience of being John Malkovich for 15 minutes, which turns out to be quite an addictive ride, much to the annoyance of Mr. M. Nigel, got your file?
Yes, well, I just want some guilt-free casual sex, me. OK, ma'am, I'll phone you in a week. Bye. They stick a dirty old wig on K.D. Lang, lookalike John Cusack, presumably to make him look less like K.D. Lang. And they'll reel in a big star like Cameron Diaz with a simple pitch, which works on the bloated egos of these thesps every time. It goes like this, I'll run it by you. Yes, Cameron, we'll stick some frizzy hair on you out of condition, greasy skin, some bad slacker clothes, and everyone will marvel at how you've stretched your oeuvre and you're a wonderful actor portraying all these different roles. Yes, works every time. Gotta get a photocopy of my big bloated boat race. Self-conscious stoner flick for so-called clever dicks to put on after they've tired of the Big Lebowski. Yes, I can hear them now. Oh yes, Being John Malkovich proves America can make low-budget, left-of-centre, none-more black comedies, and I know because I got it. I loved Spike Jonze's output for MTV. It was really cutting edge, and this was produced by Michael Stipe. Remember him? He used to play in a band. I think they were called the Beach Boys or something.
Being John Malkovich is available to rent and buy on VHS and DVD now.
I don't care who I maim, I'll cut you, I'll slice you, I'll kill you. Yeah, goodbye, Dad. It's competition time. We've got a swathe of classic horror titles to give away. The collective noun being a rossiter of horror titles to give away to the lucky, lounging, lugubrious long pig who can ascertain the answer to this one simplistic question, the words of which are cogitating in Stef's brain and making their way down to his undulating aperture.
Who performed the song Bela Lugosi's Dead?
We'll both get jobs in a chemist shop just so we can neck back their supplies of 110% proof aftershave and perfume. That stuff's really strong, and pretty soon we were drunk out of our minds. Stef was hallucinating that he was in Gay Paris, walking on the Champs-Élysées, arm in arm with Anita Harris. I ended up falling into an imaginary ditch, and I couldn't climb out because I had metal spikes instead of hands, and they were slicing through the milotic mud. Help me, help me, help me! Luckily, a pigeon landed on me and shot out the right answer.
Send your answers by fax on 01413536660, or why not email us at vidz@channel4.com.
Hey, I've got some supplies of nandrolone. Do you want to take them and sort of go for a walk? Bela Lugosi's waiting. Have you noticed how American porn actresses always go in their affirmative when they're having orgasmic pleasure? Fancy a pint?
Oh, get something to eat. You hungry? Oh, fancy some oyster.
Fish supper? Oh, you need a haircut. How you go, my man?
Oh, then you shoes.
Oh, what a lovely...